I believe that kindness is the greatest attribute you can have. I have a story I would like to share. There was a time when I was in 7th grade where my friends started sitting at a different table. I moved to join them as one would, and that went well up until around the beginning of the 8th grade year, where another kid started to sit at the table. This put one extra person at the table, so it was a who could get there first situation. Oftentimes I would get there first, but then this kid we'll name Billy would throw me out of my chair so he could sit at the table. As this went on, he blamed me for the tension between us more and more. And one of my friends that I moved tables with had a crush on him. So she would listen to everything he said, and what he said was correct. So this led to him taking advantage of that and making her insult me and attack me mentally. She changed. After 8 years of us being best friends, it was gone like that because of a crush. He eventually managed to stop any interaction between me and any other student, which made me feel unwanted, leading to me not wanting to be around anyone else, so I stopped interacting with my parents and the rest of my family, just being so put down and not wanted. I spent 2 to 3 months being isolated from everyone and everything. It was a feeling of loneliness I hadn't felt in a long time. Until one person listened. They listened to me and believed me. The student would listen to me in LA and just listen to what I had to say, let me get everything off my shoulders. She then went and talked to the friend who didn't betray me but also moved tables with me earlier that year. I then continued to sit by myself and get thrown out of my seat. Eventually, I gave up and just sat by myself all year. Later on, I don't know how much longer it was, but the 2 friends that listened sat with me and gave up on them. We became a trio that came to high school together, and then later became a quintet. This is one of many reasons why I came to believe that being kind is the greatest attribute you can have. I believe that this belief is important because without kindness, the world would plunge into anger and chaos. How did I come to believe this though? Well, as a child I was bullied a whole ton, so in elementary school and middle school there weren't a lot of people in favor of being around me. That is why I believe kindness is the greatest attribute you can have. Because I was bullied and teased for years, which made me feel alone and afraid, but I never want that to happen to anyone else. At least I had those 2 friends that helped me through it. They have helped me a lot and have been a huge influence on my life, whether they know it or not. If I can make one person's day the tiniest bit better, then you better bet your buns I will be coming running, no matter who, what, when, where, or why. Helping ever since the start of me being bullied has been a requirement. When people do stuff for me, it may seem like I just forget or brush it off, but that's not the truth. I remember it. There was one time in the 3rd grade where the teacher had an auction with the classroom tickets, and I really wanted this brown camo piggy bank for whatever reason. So I did my best to get it, but in the end, didn't get it. But later, in the elementary school daycare system, the kid who did get it came up to me and asked me to follow him, and I was very confused, obviously. But I went with him and learned that he was giving me the piggy bank. And I remember that. I still remember his name to the day. Everything people do for me is remembered, whether they remember it or not. Everyone has bad stuff happen to them and good stuff happen to them. You decide which way it influences you. And if you can decide to have it influence you, you can decide which way it influences you. Kindness is the greatest attribute you can have.